Okay, so this is the DRZ year 2000 rebuild project that we have running at the moment, and this is the engine we picked up at the weekend for the bike because it had an extremely damaged engine and it was cheaper just to buy a second-hand engine, in a nutshell. So it's coming to the workshop, and what I've done is I've set, I don't know if you can see down there, let me shine my torch, that line there on the stator indicates that we're at top dead centre, and when you've got your rocker cover off, which is here and held on with 1, 2, 3 bolts. Okay, so you've got your rocker cover on, you take your 3 bolts off, it exposes your head. Now, intake cams, okay, 0.10 to 0.20. I set them at 0.15. If that's like speaking Swahili to you, then let me just get my feeler gauge ready. You take a 0.10 feeler gauge and you push it underneath there. Now, like I said, the limits from Suzuki is 0.10 minimum, and the greatest figure is 0.20. Now, I like the middle ground between them figures, so I use a 0.15 feeler gauge. And check your ranges first. Now, what that means is put a 0.10 under there. If you can't get a 0.10 underneath there, like that, so that it pushes underneath like that, if it's tight and the feeler gauge that says 0.10 on it, you cannot do that with, it'll stop there and you'd be forcing it. You need to take your cams off and you need to re-shim it underneath that little cap there. Okay, so a quick way of identifying that your bike's set at the right top dead centre is your exhaust cam will point to the left, your intake will point to the right, your little line from your stator will be there in the middle of that hole like that. I take my spark plug out, and it's a good job I took this spark plug out because I get a load of looking at this bad boy. This is why you'd never trust a second-hand engine and you always go through the motions afterwards. This is the condition of that spark plug. Guess where that's going? Straight in the bin. So, intake, as I digress, I like a 0.15 to be able to get a 0.15 under it, and that I can on both sides. Yeah, we're there. I have double checked these. There we go. It's hard to hold the camera. So as you can see, I am backwards and forwards there. No problem on the intake. Now, same method, different feeler gauge, different range. The exhaust side, which says EX, 0.20 minimum to 0.30. What's the middle ground? 0.25. So that was at 0.25, perfect. The other one wasn't. I couldn't even get a 0.20 under it. So what I've done is I've re-shimmed that one. A shim kit. That's a shim kit, and let me just try and open this up. Them stupid horrible little clicky things. What is a shim? It looks like that. It's a little round thing with numbers on it. Okay, so the actual shim size in there was a 3.08, and I took it down to a 3.0. When you look in the kit, you'll see all the different numbers for all the different size variants of all the shims. I put a smaller shim in it. Okay, now what that smaller shim does then, it allows me to set what size feeler gauge I can get under there, and I hit it right first time with putting a 3.0 in there, because now I can get a 0.25 feeler gauge underneath that exhaust cam section. Same with that one. Be careful when you are taking off parts to shim your engine. Now what I mean by that is, in order to shim your engine, you've got to take out these 4 journal bolts for whichever side you're shimming. Let's say you're just doing this, the exhaust side. You take them 4 out, you've got to take that off. You need to take off your cam chain tensioner, okay, because that's going to give you some slack in your cam chain. Once you've took these 2 bolts out, sorry if I'm making you seasick here with camera, I should have an head cam on, shouldn't I really? When you take these 2 out, you can take that guide off, take your cam chain tensioner off, gives you some slack on the chain. Take these out, pop that off. Be careful of the 2 dowels underneath, do not drop them in your engine, because if you drop them in the engine, it's going to be right ball ache to get them out. I've done it once. Telescopic magnet was my friend. So, you've got that off. Check that you don't lose your cam chain down the engine, down there, okay? Put a tie wrap on it, put some weights on it, drape it over here. There's 2 types of engines. One with a black brown bolt here that stops your cam chain falling into your engine. Then there's this one, which doesn't have that. So what did I do? Got some tie wraps, and I just got a set of dog bones, and I tied it round chain, and I draped it down here to hold my cam chain down here so it don't fall in the engine while I worked on that. So once I got that off, I used my little magnet and I took the cam gear out, the cam shaft, this, all one piece. Once the lid's gone, all this you can just pop out. And then the caps, I use my magnet to lift the cap up, and the shim will be inside the cap, okay? You'll see a little hole in the top of the valve, a little circle hole where the shim goes. But when you take the cap off, you're going to take the shim will be stuck in the bottom of the cap. Then you can do your resizing and put it back on again. Make sure when you're setting your timing, have a look at this. Number 3, arrow pointing upwards. Number 2, arrow pointing upwards. Centre line in there. Cam's facing that way. That means you're at top dead centre afterwards and your timing's set correct. Put your cam chain tensioner back in. This is the older one. Before you start setting, before you start finishing this job, once you've shimmed the engine, tighten these down to 10 Newton meters, right? All of them. Then check with your feeler gauge. It makes a difference, right? And what I mean by this is, if you just put these in finger tight when you've shimmed it, and then you start checking your clearances, you'll get a false reading. You need to torque all of these back down to 10 Newton meters. Don't Loctite them yet. Then you need to check your clearances, that you can get your feeler gauges under your cams with everything set like I've told you. Then pointing right and left. Number 3, arrow on that camshaft pointing up. Number 2, pointing up vertically. If one's pissed like that, if you've got a 3 pointing that way and a 2 pointing that way, it ain't right. Them arrows point vertical, okay? I'll try and pan round here so we can get a closer look at that. Number 2, do we see it? There, and the arrow vertical on the exhaust cam. And the number 3 on the intake cam. Once you've got all these at 10 Newton meters and you've got tension on your cam chain, number 3 and number 2 is pointing upwards, and you've got your feeler gauges working really clear underneath here, 0.15 and 0.25 on your clearances. Then you can apply some Loctite. Oil-based Loctite, remember. See the chart on the file section. Then you can put Loctite on your bolts and tighten them down and the job's done. Okay. Another little thing I forgot to mention. Oil. Engine oil. Squirty can. Lube everything up. All of this lot. It likes oil. Doesn't like to be dry. Lube it up. Stick a new spark plug in while you're doing it, when you've finished all that lot. And then you're good to put your rocker cover back on your 3 bolts. Some people put a layer of liquid gasket around here as well, even though it does have a seal gasket on it. That's just best practice. You can do that. What we're doing next on this bike is I'm going to be doing the pair valve delete on it. Alright. What is that? That big thing down here at the side of your frame, which ain't needed, and it's causes more problems than enough. We're going to be taking these 2 bolts out, getting rid of that pipe that went to the pair valve, and we're putting a delete kit plate on it. I'm going to show you that in the next video. So yeah, seal your engine up, don't leave any holes in it. Plug, cap. Getting this cap out. That's what it looks like when somebody who doesn't know what they're doing tries to get one out. What they do is they take a big socket, right, and they stick it in there, and then they start cranking on it. Now that's like taking a run up to a girl to mate with her and hitting her from behind at full speed. It ain't going to happen. You're just going to do some damage, and that's what happens. The correct way to get these off, right? Heat it up around here for a few minutes. Give it a spray with some penetrating sealer first. Heat it up, repeat the cycle. Stick one of them in, and very gently it will come out, and it'll come out like that. When people start moaning, how do I get my cap off? I've rounded it off. It's because they've gone at it like a witch's tit and have not treated it with respect. Heat it up, treat it gently. Everything moves easier with heat on an engine, okay? It expands. So heat it up before you do anything. To remove any bolts, stuff, same goes for all like that, okay? If you have rounded it off and you want to know how to do it, to get it out, get a hole punch, right? And put it on there and hit it. You'll put holes and indentations in it, but eventually it'll start to turn a hole puncher. And you'll have to buy a new one afterwards. That's the way of life, I'm afraid. Okay, so part 2 on the other end of this, I'll just show you the kit and the completed pair valve on here as well. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye. Okay, so the other part of this video, we spoke about cam clearances and shimming, and what I have here is the pair valve blank off kit that I buy. It's on eBay. That's the seller, Smart Moto. Comes with a little business card, so you can scan that and it shows you how to fit it, but it ain't rocket science. You've got 2 plugs for your carb hoses, or airbox and carb, I can't remember which way around. Probably have to look at a video again myself, to be honest with you. I'm getting old and forgetful. Old style carbs, this is why they give you these 2 blank offs, so you can blank off what you need for your carburetor system. Then you come with a fancy little plate, custom plate, and a gasket. Keep your original 2 bolts that you take off. I've just took this off, the piece that were left, obviously, that were stuck on there, like that, on there. And I'm going to just literally bolt that plate on. We might be putting an FCR copy flat side carb on this engine, I don't know. We do have a JD jet kit to jet up the original carb on it. I think it'd be kind of good to do a video on that for people. That the question gets asked a lot: what's the best jet kit? How do I do it? Which needle clip do I put it on? Where's the main jet? Where's the pilot jet? So I think it might be kind of cool that we do a video on that, so we can just show everybody the standard carb for the DRZ DRZ 400S, not the E, the S, and we rejet it, going through everything on it. So yeah, we'll probably do that, but for now let me get this blanking plate kit on and I'll shoot the final part of this video for the engine, which has all been cleaned up with polishing wheels. As you can see, it looks a lot cleaner than what it did. A whole bag of red polishing wheels. I'll show you them on the next one. But yeah, cool. Let's get a spark plug in it as well. Thank you. See you in a few minutes.